Hi y'all, it's Kate at Kate's Garden Chicken and Cat Rambles, and I guess Saturday's becoming my video day. I was just going to have a chat, and I've got you propped up against the dehumidifier, so I'm going to make a soup. It's, sorry. So, it's a rainy Saturday again. I can hardly see out because of my windows. So, rainbow cherries, my favorite cherries. No, they're not going in the soup. I didn't want to buy a bunch of onions because I can't, just for one person, so I bought shallots. So anyway, this is just typical, like a lot of things. I just fly by the seat of my pants. What sounds good is what I put in it. So right now, this is not a cooking video, this is more of a chat video. Don't look at me in my fatness and braless, That's just how Kate rolls. So I've got one shallot cut up, a whole thing of celery hearts, and my secret ingredient, which adds a little crunch to the soup, and people always love it, water chestnuts. I buy them in halved instead of diced, because I want them in big pieces. I like when I eat my soup to be able to, I eat mine with a big spoon, and I like to be able to taste and the texture of the vegetables. I like big pieces of veggies, so that's in there. I decided I'm going to add another shallot. But I had bought some chicken because, well, you know that Kate's mighty poor these days. Having to buy a car and a camper and move out all in the period of 6 weeks really fucked my world up, because it meant instead of being able to put some money aside and do things, I had to just use every penny at my access and live paycheck to paycheck. So I'm still doing it, and this is June. So maybe by July I'll be in a better place. I've still got to pay registration on my car, and I still registration on the camper. They're both good till the end of the month. Hopefully, maybe I'll get some good tips at work, and that'll pay for my registration. I don't know. I was going to do it, I'm kind of behind, about a week behind the actual day in June, but it's still good for the month of June, I think. But, I had to make a choice, and one of those choices that, unfortunately, a lot of people my age and single people, is I had to choose get my car registered or buy medication and food. So, But, luckily, groceries aren't costing me too much. I don't know if I shared with you guys the good news. I'm sorry I'm off screen at the trash. My field. Since I started working for this cleaning company, I love my job. I do. It's a lot of hard work, very physical. It's wrecking my hand. I'm going to have to go to the doctor, and I don't want to be on pain meds, but I want them to do something to help with the stiffness and the pain. I just want 5 more working years out of this hand. I don't want to get to a point that I'm going to have to learn to use my left just to wipe my butt, and I'm getting to that point sometimes. On days that I don't use it, I suffer the most. So I am trying to, use it as often as I can, and as much as I can. So I was cutting these shallots on my makeshift cutting board. Some cheap plastic plate from Walmart. It was in the clearance aisle. I had 2, and they were 50 cents a piece. I'm like, okay, they'll be good for microwave stuff. One of them I put popcorn on, disintegrated, melted in the microwave. Anyways, just Kate rambling and cutting up veggies. But I'm doing well, and you guys, I had a few naysayers, people who are like, why would she want to live in a camper and out in the country and blah, 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 and be alone? You know what? I am in my zone. I love it. People forget that though I lived with Paul for 14 years, we were just roommates. In the last 6, 7, we were like 2 strangers passing each other in the hallway in the night. He took advantage of me, but, it was not, I was still most of the time alone. I could go 2 weeks and never speak to him. I might see him, but doesn't mean we can speak, So anyhow, but I'm so happy. I really am. that's why I did this video, because I know several of my videos have been like, I'm in crisis, my world's changing, oh no, oh no, oh no. But no, there's a little bit of that this morning. It wasn't. It's just, you guys are who I have to talk to. I don't have a lot of people who just want to listen, and I don't have a lot of people who can relate. I've always been kind of the, I don't know, the footloose, fancy-free, the non-conventional person. Doing things, marching to the beat of my own drum, blah, 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 all that. I'm going to use my cast iron Dutch oven, which I use it like a stock pot and everything else. Oh, it's heavy as you know what. When it's full of food, I can't pour it. I have to dip the food out, yeah. Boy, this is not flattering. But look, my hair thing needs to match my shirt. I cut my hair, so right now my hair is to about here. It flips up a little bit. I bobbed it myself because, well, since COVID, or I'm sorry, the C word happened, I learned to cut my own hair online. You remember when I went from long to the buzz cut, to the pixie, and I grew it out? Okay. And then I did the whole butterfly cut thing a couple months ago, and then it's just hot, and I felt like it's heavy, and it's starting to, you can't see it, but it's a little thinning here, and I'm shedding more. I'll have to have the doctor look into that when I get a chance to see the doctor. But I had to get new doctors and new cards, tribal cards, so I could go to the Indian clinic. When my purse got stolen, they stole, my driver's license and my cards, all that. They also stole all my Indian IDs. But mine were old anyway. They were usable for what I needed them to be usable for. Now they have a photo ID and it's more modern. That's a whole different story. That'll be a road trip down to Durant, blah, blah, blah. So, watermelon vodka. That was all I had yesterday for dinner. I was not hungry all day, but I did drink a pint of vodka. I know, and it sounds horrible. It's not a lot. I mean, it was over the whole evening, and this is some of the rest of it left over, but it was Friday night. My check was dismal. It wasn't dismal. I get paid every It was just about $250 less than usual. Yeah, and in my circumstances, oh no. But Memorial Day fell in that, and then we had a week of cancellations and short things, and the guy I work with, who I'm not going to work with anymore, he has a second job, so we were having to limit how many jobs we could do a day, because he had to get back for a second job, and we were just in a bind. But it really messed with my money, and so I told my boss, no, I'm sorry, but we can't have this. Where is my chicken broth? Did I leave it in the car? Am I missing a bag? When did you know it? Why am I sticking? Oh, how about I didn't stick it in the freezer? No, it's probably in the car. Probably fell in the bag somewhere. I'm going to have to pause this and go see. I'm back. It wasn't in the car. When I came in the door, because my door is so small, I had put some, I just set a thing in and kind of slid it under the edge of the couch. But, chicken broth. Caramellos, not for the soup. That's just some lick 'em and stick 'em food, that's what I call it, Might as well just lick it and stick it to your ass, because that's where it's going. But anyhow, too many baggies. I hate plastic baggies. And I don't have as many in my shops. In Delaware, these are no longer. You have to bring your own bags or use paper. There's no more using plastic bags, disposable plastic bags. At least not in the weir. Okay, I'm going to have to readjust the AC unit because it's blowing. Play. So though I don't really need to, I always put just a little bit of olive oil. I like this Greek olive oil. It's a little fruitier than some, but it's really good. And I like to drink a spoonful of have a spoonful of olive oil every morning. But yeah, I'm not sponsored by anybody. You guys know that. I'm not big enough or interesting enough to be sponsored by anybody yet. So, just put that stuff in there. It's really not all going to brown. I'm just getting it out of the way so I can rinse the chicken in here. But I bought a bag of frozen mixed vegetables. But anywho, back to what we're talking about. Who gives a shit what I'm cooking or how I'm cooking it? But yeah, so I'm happy, guys. You know, I have days where I'm like, oh, I wish I had more money, and I wish I didn't. You know, right now I'm like, I know that I can go 2 weeks on a whole tank of gas if I go nowhere but from work and home. I really have nowhere else I need to go. I need to go up by Tulsa and see my little sister. I haven't seen her in years. And I'd like to go visit my brother, and I'd like to go down to Durant. But, you know, there's things right now, my priority is making sure my mortgage and my car payment are paid, and insurance, all those the minutia, the bills that just, I'm going to be saving minutia, freaking pain in my ass. But here, give them a little bit of time to saute. So I bought these chicken breasts because cat food is just so expensive, and taxes here. You know, I come from a state where there is no taxes on anything, you know, not just food, but on anything, you know. So you're like, oh, well, the prices are probably higher because it's on the East Coast to make up for the taxes. No, they weren't. It's cheaper to live in Delaware. But, well, no, there's things that were cheaper in Delaware. Like, oh my God, soda in Delaware is so much cheaper. But anyhow, so I was just going to she's been really picky. Like, she'll like some food, and since baby Kitty died, she's taken over being a full-fledged diva. I mean, I think she's missed him, but she wants to drink out of the faucet all the time. Which, I don't have a problem leaving it trickling, but it means I'm having to dump my spray tank all the time. So, this payday splurge, I've been buying something for the house at least each payday. A little air fryer, dehumidifier, nothing, you know, nothing over $30. But this time, this payday, I just didn't have the money, but I ordered her a little pet fountain. Only about $10, and it's small. It's like for a single animal, but it's an automatic pet fountain. And because of her heart, Kitty has little heart disease, so she's peeing a lot. But it's just, and her potassium's a bit low, so I'm going to get a electrolyte water, because I found that though it may not have enough salt and electrolytes for all people, but she does well on it. And they'd probably make a pet one that's probably outrageously expensive, and it's the same damn thing. So, anywho, sorry that's not a very good angle, but this is my little wee kitchen, and it'll work. This area here, I think whoever owned this before put this little shelf, and it's a little crooked. Yeah, so I'm going to eventually take that out and put something that's a shelving thing here, and then I think I'm going to get something that either hangs right here or whatever for spices. But I'm thinking if I take this out, I could probably get a little, that's almost 4 feet, 3.5 foot little shelving thing that would hold spices and like peanut butter and weird stuff. And then down here is canned goods and stuff like that. And over there's apron, tablecloth, shit I don't really use or need. I just need to put them in a tote and get them put into a storage somewhere under the camper. But anyway, so I was just going to do some boiled chicken for her, because I got some food the other day, some Shiba, which I don't normally buy because I think it's overpriced, but she's been eating it well. So, you know, I haven't had to change my propane tank yet. I've been here since April 22nd. I don't use propane every day. I mean, I use it for hot water and showers, but I have two 20-pound tanks on here, and I don't, you know, I've never been a person doing on gas grills or use propane much, so I don't know how how long it's supposed to last, but it's still going. Today I was thinking, I wonder, cooking the soup, if I'll have to change over to the other tank. But it'd be awesome if those two tanks would last me all summer. Because propane is not cheap. But since she's eating that Shiba pretty well, I'll stick to that, and then when we run out of that, I just may buy some more chicken and start doing her. I like to put chicken breast in my soup, but for her, I think I will buy like wings, and she'll eat it raw. That's one thing my old vet in North Carolina always talked about. Just throw them a chicken wing. They're designed to eat bird bones, not cooked bird bones, but bird bones and raw meat. She definitely does love some chicken. I'm surprised she's not over here dogging me, but instead she's over laying up against my bed pillows. Yeah, she's up with her hairy butt. That's fine, because she can be really annoying. And when I'm in the kitchen, she thinks that's automatically time for Mom to keep the water running for her. I'm trying to fill an ice tray last night. What's she doing? She's above the ice tray, just drinking away. I'm like, I don't want your backwash in my eyes. But it might make it taste better. Our water is not bad. It just has a taste to the ice. I'm going to buy a bag of ice today while I was at the store. And they only had the big giant bags. Bags that are the size of my entire fridge. So I might go to Brahms or Sonic and buy a bag of ice. But my ice trays have been just fine for me. Speaking of, I should have put this on ice. Dr. Pepper. And my bad. I squirreled it, me and my ADD. Squirrel! I toasted you guys, but I forgot to drink it. So, here's to Kate, pursuing her best life and loving it. Okay? Cheers. So long. It's not a normal shot glass. Whew. It's an anti-cappuccino glass. It holds about 2 shots, so that's good for now. I didn't plan on, maybe one day a week do I drink. Maybe one day every other week. But I wasn't going to today because of last night, but I wanted the room in the freezer, so I had to take a little pint out. But yeah. Of all my, my only vice is Dr. Pepper. And even with my continued influx of Dr. Pepper, I've lost 30 pounds. I know you can't really tell. Everything's baggy and loose on me. I still have my muffin top. It's like, of course I lost boobs first. I'm sure it was a little bit was water weight, but my job is probably about 6 straight hours of interval training all day, every day. So, one thing I'm going to probably put all these rest in here. I might save one for Candy, but what I don't eat, I can give to people. I meant to buy some fresh, but their garlic just didn't look that great. So, luckily, I always keep garlic on hand. And one thing, I made this soup for the first time in 1992, when my husband Todd at the time was really sick. And he wanted some soup, but, I wanted it to be healthier and heartier than just, here's a can of soup. So I made this, and I used a lot of garlic. And at the time, I also used some cabbage. I'm not using cabbage this time, but he loved it. Guys at work loved it. And, it was hearty, it was healthy. And that's when I learned that. I looked into why is chicken soup something that people always say, have chicken soup if you're sick, make the chicken soup. Chicken soup, cure all. Well, it's not that there's anything magical about chicken soup. It's just that typical chicken soups were caloric. They were easy on someone's stomach. And they were highly caloric. Not in like a bunch of bad calories, but it was something sick people could get down, and they got nutrition and they got some fat. Because when you're sick, vegetarians tend to, I don't want to pick on vegetarians because I know some, and to each their own, but A vegetarian will be sicker longer than someone who gets meat and fat in their diet. I'm sorry, but our species did not evolve from just gatherers. You know, we are hunters. And protein is the building block. The building block of life. I remember working for a lady that she didn't eat anything that had a brain. She would eat some seafood that, you know, had no cognitive, but she would eat animal protein. She would eat any kind of meat and blah, blah, blah. But she really wanted to have a kid, and she couldn't get pregnant, and when she did get pregnant, she had a miscarriage, and the doctor said, you need to change your diet. So she started eating a lot of salmon and pasture-raised chicken and stuff. And sure enough, she got pregnant, lickety split. And all the rest of us, she was like, me and the other, I was bartending, and the other chef that kind of found her a non-meat thing, being in a fine dining restaurant, and she tried to force it on. You can't force vegetarians and no customers. If they're paying $50 a plate for the food, they probably want some meat. But anyway, I looked at him and I'm like, don't salmon have a face? We laughed. That was the wrong thing. I don't eat anything with a face. Well, she started eating things with face. And sure enough, bam. She got pregnant, and then a few years later, she got pregnant again. Now, I don't know if she's gone back to her extreme vegetarian diet. I mean, this was in the late 90s, so there was still a lot not known about nutrition. And her sister went on the same diet and then realized she had lupus, and that didn't help her. And you can only eat, you can't get enough protein from just beans and nuts. You just can't. You know, you have, you know, she wouldn't even eat eggs. So I tried to tell her, I said, you know, from a scientific standpoint, I'm not stupid, I'm educated, you need protein. You need a better protein than just beans and nuts. She's like, no, you're wrong, blah, blah, blah. Sure enough, that's what the doctor told her. She followed the doctor's suggestion, and bam, she was pregnant. Not that she's someone who needed to have children, but you know, hey. To everybody. So yeah, I just use the Whole Fortunes 28-ounce thing of, I think that's what it is, chicken broth. And I'll add a little bit of water, but for everything, their first absorption and cooking and whatever, they're just getting the organic chicken broth. And I don't buy everything organic. I used to, but I'm too poor to buy everything organic these days. But, yeah, 32 ounces of chicken broth. Certain things like chicken broth and other things like that are processed and packed, because, you know, I call it mystery broth, because you don't know what kind of chickens are in the broth, how it was made, especially if you're buying some. I don't typically buy Walmart brand stuff, but I will, you know, if I've tried it before, and I don't mind their organic products. So anyway, that's just me rattling off whether it's nonsense or makes any sense or is correct or not. That's just me why I prefer organic chicken broth. Anything in a can is bad enough if it's in a can, it's processed and it's not fresh. But at least if you're going to go that route, go organic at least, you know. So anyhow, like my olive oil is organic, Greek olive oil, and certain things like that. That's just my preference. Whether it makes sense, who knows? Who cares? That's just how I do it. Let's try. It's tiny, but I'm kind of proud of my kitchen. I've always liked having a decent kitchen. And so the air fryer sits back there, potatoes, little baby potatoes. The Pandy wants to come over here and rub her face on that. I don't know why. I don't have a drawer big enough or a place for all my knives. I have some nice Japanese knives. They're awesome. But yeah, this is my snake plant. My sister potted for me. They had a little baby. These, as it gets taller, its leaves will open up, kind of like my hand. I think I mentioned that, and it's good for air purification. My little, this prickly pants, that's what I name her. I always name my plants. I haven't named that one. But the asparagus fern my sister potted for me, and I'll include some of those pictures. Well, like cars, I name my plants typically after girls. Not always, but I do. So I named her Fern. I know. She's already a fern, blah, 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 but Fern is a girl's name, and it just suits her. She's a fern. She's my only fern. So, anyhow,
Yeah, I need to get a collapsible colander. I've had this colander literally, I brought it from North Carolina and I had it there. I bought this colander before Lee and I got married in 99. So I bought this colander when I first went to North Carolina, 95, 96. And I am still using it in 2025. I love it. It's like, oh, it's my friend. So I need to get a spot where I can hang it up, maybe. But right now, it just goes in the bowl up here where I keep dishes. So I don't have any pots and pans except for that pan. So I'm using I have a skillet. I have my little red skillet here. But, and this. But I dug out of my camping gear, my camping stuff. So this is like a little omelet-sized skillet. There's a teapot, and then there's this little pot, which I was going to use this little pot here to just boil some chicken for Penny. Fly, get out of the way. These flies, when they come in here, it's certain death. I tell them, do not come into this house. Death comes on swift wings here. And I am like awesome with the fly swatter. I mean, I don't miss. And I'm fast. So, you know, when you get my age, you gotta be a few little things you're proud of. And I am proud of my fly killing abilities. And so when I come home from work and a few flies fly into the house as I'm climbing up into the camper, all the stress and tension from the idiot drivers on the highway and the fact that I have yet to see, I shouldn't say this, knock on wood, I have yet to see an Oklahoma trooper on the stretch of highway that I drive twice a day, every day. But I see plenty of idiots, plenty of people going 150 in their ugly ass Corvettes. Like, get over it, dude. And no cop. And it's sad because sometimes I'm like, you know what? I hope I see you rolled over on the side of the road. Not hurt. I don't want you to get hurt. But I'd like to learn a lesson in your ugly little bit. But whatever. So anyway, that's me ranting again. So I'm just stirring this up, letting everything meld. I'm going to add some salt. So one thing about my camper I've learned is humidity. That's why I had to get this little bitty, it's small, and it's made for like a camper or a small room. It's a dehumidifier, which holds, it says it'll hold 18 ounces of liquid, and it will pull 9 ounces of liquid a day. And about every other day I dump it when it's about half, 3/4 full. So, salt shakers, even with a cracker or pasta in the shaker, my salt was, I couldn't use it. So, I buy Himalayan pink salt. I don't buy the little cutesy bottles of it. I need to get a grinder though. I'd like to get an electric grinder and an electric pepper grinder too. But. So I just use my hands. I bought these little things at Dollar Tree. They have a nice seal in the lid. It's not as much salt as you think I'm putting in. I have little hands. But, so I just use a pinch of salt. If someone comes over and they need salt, unless they've been picking their nose or putting their hand down their pants, get a pinch of salt. You know, salt is pretty antibacterial anyway. So anyway, I'm not worried about it. And I do have some salt shakers, and maybe in the winter it'll be different, but I have a feeling that humidity is something I might always battle, so I don't mind using it. I thought about buying one of those little trendy cute little salt dishes with a lid and a little spoon, and you know, I'm sorry, that's $15 that doesn't make sense for me to spend right now. So what do? I spend $1 at Dollar Tree, and I've got one up here for cooking and one on the table, and I'm good to go. And I don't know. Have I become too simple and I don't know, in my living? And I'm just not someone into the commercial thing. Like, I'm sure, you know, I haven't had anybody come visit but my sister. And she's like, oh, it's a cute camper. No one's made any comments, but, you know, I'm sure there's people who are, and some probably some fans who are like, so, you know, what are you going to decorate it like? I'm like, decorate it? I'm not going to do a motif. I'm not a motif person. When I was married to Lee, when we bought our house, I did, at the time, it was 99, yeah, 98, we bought the house before we got married. I bought you know, I had nice big fluffy white furniture, glass and wrought iron tables, and I did what was trendy, and, you know, he liked it, I liked it at the time. But, you know, one thing about stuff that's trendy, when you follow trends or you do your decor or whatever,
in now, you know, like all the people doing the blues and whites or all white houses or whatever, is that trend is going to go away in a few years. But I got tired of it. I got tired of that same look. So this place is too small to decorate, really. I got all this black that I'm not a big fan of. I like black, but I don't like black in some places small because I think it makes things smaller. I keep the windows open and I'm trying to accessorize with just light colors and different shades of blue because I find blue very calming. It's not my favorite color, but I find it very calming and I do like it. But I would say that my decorating style is just cute. When I went tiny, I only kept the things I loved that meant anything, that I knew I would use again. You know, I had a lot of stuff, a lot of crystal, a lot of other china and stuff. And I brought a 4-piece set of my china of all the plates I wanted. And that's my everyday dinnerware. Why not? It's got to be used. Why waste it? And I left the rest. And I brought, you know, these little glasses and a few other things that I loved and that I did use because I believe, I don't care how expensive or decorative it is, you need to use it. It's meant to be used. So, I keep all my plastic glasses and stuff down in a drawer, and I don't feel like bending over and getting it. So now I'm going to be adding some water. And I'm probably adding about maybe 4 cups. I don't want to make too big of a pot. I'd rather it be dense and full of vegetables because you can always you know, add a little more liquid or buy some more chicken broth if your soup gets too thick. But I just don't have the storage space, and yeah, I'd rather it be thicker with vegetables and veggies. So anyway, I just want to say thank you guys for sticking around here. And this is Kate Rambles On. I believe that's why I changed my channel name to. Can you believe I have not remembered that? But I'm an idiot. But yeah, I believe it to Kate Rambles On because that's what I'm doing, rambling. Well, I want to say hi, happy Saturday, and I'm making some soup, and I'm happy as a bug in the rug. Bye guys, love you.